What if I told you that there's an easier way to reprogram your subconscious mind, which actually doesn't have to do with reprogramming your subconscious mind at all, that when you begin to apply, changes everything in your life? Because here's the thing, our subconscious mind is at the level of reasoning on the scale of vibration, which I'll be sharing with you in a minute. And because we're trying to change our subconscious mind from the level of reasoning, from the level of mind, that's why it's something that is so hard to do. We're trying to change something that runs 95% of our life. However, there's something more powerful that I want to share with you that when you begin to do, changes everything about your life. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now on this video, I'm going to share with you something way more powerful than reprogramming the subconscious mind, and I'm going to show you how to apply it easily. Now first off, let's understand why we want to go beyond the mind, why the mind can only get us so far. And when we get into a state of consciousness of being at what is called love or above, these higher vibrational emotions, that's where we begin to bring magic into our life. That's where we have this ability to manifest things easier than ever, and it's because we're in a higher vibrational state. Now, a lot of times what's emphasized as well when we say, I'm not good enough, I want to be better, I need to reprogram myself because I'm not good enough, is we are emphasizing an old identity. There's a way that we've been thinking, feeling, and acting in reality. And based on the autopilot mind of the way that we've been thinking, acting, and feeling, we have the reality that we're experiencing now. Our reality on the outside is a reflection of how we think, feel, and act. Now, when we say, I'm not good enough already, and what we do is we emphasize trying to change this version of us, that's where it becomes hard, because then 95% of our subconscious mind is running our life. And because we continue to try, we are implying the old identity. We're implying that we're not good enough already. And because of that, we're in a way bringing the old identity into the mix over and over again by emphasizing, I'm not good enough. I want to be better. If I had more money, I'd be better. If I accomplished XYZ, I'd be better. If I didn't have these limiting money beliefs, I'd be better. But there's a more powerful way that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. Now, first off, if you've never heard me talk before about the book Autobiography of a Yogi, it is a book by Paramahansa Yogananda. He is coined for bringing yoga to the West from India back in, I believe, the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And he is, in his book Autobiography of a Yogi, you see him go through, he talks about how he went through different enlightenment experiences, his life in general, and some of his interactions with other people that were considered enlightened that could literally do magical things. They could do things like manifest instantly. His mom manifested a locket in her hand when one of the enlightened gurus told her that she would, and that she would eventually give that locket to Paramahansa Yogananda. There were times of putting ideas in certain other members of people's heads, like ideas like, come pick me up at the train station at this time. That was Sri Yukteswar, who was Paramahansa Yogananda's guru, and it was a message that was relayed telepathically. There have been many other instances in that book of things like that happening, things that we would consider to be magic. And you read that and you can feel the authenticity of the book. And then it starts to raise these questions. Why could these people do things that we literally would think are impossible? And the reason being is because they've raised their level of consciousness and they knew something that we didn't know, or that we're not maybe even aware of. And I went to Bashar recently. If you guys don't know, I talk a lot about Bashar. I went to one of his conferences recently and I asked him a question. I asked him about enlightenment and belief systems. And one thing he said is that the reason these enlightened people could do these things we consider to be magic is because they knew that reality is an illusion. They knew it, and because they knew it, it had more flexibility within their control. And they were able to then do things that we would consider to be magic. Now, when we're talking about instant manifestation, when we're talking about reprogramming our subconscious mind in general, we have to become aware of our level of consciousness, because here's the thing. At these different levels, which by the way, this comes from the book called Power versus Force, you will see at the bottom, you'll see shame, fear, guilt, anger. You will then see at 250 is neutrality. At 350 is acceptance of the present moment. You have willingness, and then 400 is reasoning. Between 4 and 500 is science. It's the reasoning. It's the mind. That's where we've reprogrammed, and we've programmed our subconscious mind to be thinking in a certain way. And then we have that of love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. Love, joy, peace, and enlightenment is a higher vibrational state. And I'll tell you that because I do what I love, I'm really passionate about making videos, that's raised my vibration more than anything else. Now, however, when we become aware of the beliefs we have, what do I believe to be true because my beliefs create my reality, that's between 4 and 500 on the scale of consciousness. And between 4 and 500 is where our subconscious mind is. Now, what we can do is we can go about manifesting what we want and changing our subconscious mind and then experiencing a change in our reality. And I'll share with you how to do that too. I'll share with you how to do that, plus the better way that I recommend that we go about this when it comes to reprogramming our subconscious mind. Now, first off, these vibrations, by the way, were done using kinesiology, which are muscle testing. The muscles are connected to our subconscious mind, which Dr. David Hawkins was able to show that we can test the validity and the truth of certain things, so true or false questions. Through that, that's how he came according to this scale of consciousness, and it's a very well-known, Abraham Hicks uses it, Power versus Force is a very well-known book, and it's used for knowing different things and different vibrations. For example, you can calibrate alcohol. Alcohol resonates at 275. We got weed, resonates at 350, which is acceptance, which is funny because when you smoke, you accept the moment. However, what I find is there's many things that actually, in a way, cap our vibration and keep us from raising our vibration. And the key is becoming aware of that, because when you become aware of it, that's when you can then actually change it. So everything, rock, heavy metal music will resonate at a certain frequency. It's funny, classical music resonates at 450 or in the 400s, which is reasoning. When people listen to classical music, they tend very much to like being intellectual, and it's a funny correlation there. And then love, joy, peace, and enlightenment is where things reality begins to become much more magical. Now, let me show with you, and let me switch the camera angle so it's a little more exciting. One sec. All right, new camera angle. Now, this, I'm gonna share with you a little bit about how the subconscious mind works. I'm gonna show you how to change it from that level, and then how to go about this deeper, something else that I recommend we do. Now, first off, let's understand that the subconscious mind at the level of reasoning is something that is influenced primarily in certain brain state activities. So there's different frequencies inside of our brainwave patterns are, and when we're in certain brainwave frequency patterns, that's when our mind is more like a sponge, and then there are times when we get into different states to where it's less like a sponge and it's much harder to change. Now, here's what we have. So right here, let me go ahead and, we have that of the theta state. The theta state is between 0 and 7 years old. That's when we're primarily in a theta state. That's where our subconscious mind primarily is. In the theta state, we are literally a sponge absorbing information around us. Our parents may tell us something, we absorb it. We may see some dynamic between our mom and our dad, we will absorb that, and that's where we're completely programming ourselves. Now, when we turn about 8 years old to about puberty, we're mainly in alpha state. An alpha state is like when we watch the TV or something, what happens is we get into a very relaxed state, and we're then in between. Sometimes when we meditate, we're also in an alpha, sometimes a theta state during meditation. But between 8 to puberty, we're mainly in alpha state. And then between puberty and adult, that's when we go primarily in a beta state. Now, going from theta to alpha to beta, each one of these, it's less likely to reprogram the subconscious mind. This is completely the conscious mind, and what happens here is only 5% of this runs our life. 95% of this runs our life. So the key is, because we've reprogrammed ourselves between 0 and 7 years old, what can we do to reprogram our subconscious mind? Well, luckily, there's a window. There's a window of time, 20 minutes right when we wake up in the morning, 20 minutes right before we go to bed. When we go to bed at night, we are drifting from beta to alpha to theta. That half an hour, that 20, 30 minutes we have, is when we can program the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind thinks in terms of images and feeling, not just words. Images and feeling. That's why it's important to feel what you want as you fall asleep at night. When you wake up in the morning, you are going from a theta to an alpha to a beta state. So anytime you're in this theta state, and also deep meditation can really help as well. Deep meditation, here, one second. Deep meditation will help you to reprogram your subconscious mind, because deep meditation will put you into a theta state. Now, that's the most powerful way that I found to reprogram the subconscious mind. And there's 3 other ways as well. Bringing awareness in. The more aware you become of the subconscious means under the conscious, sub like a submarine, under the conscious, the more that you bring things that were in the dark into the light, the more aware of it you become, you can then choose something else. So that's something to become aware of as well. You may have a story about relationships, a story you tell yourself about money, a story you tell yourself about reality in general. And the story you tell yourself that 95% of the mind is controlled by the subconscious mind and it's very hard to change. That will keep things hard to change. Now, the other way we go about changing our subconscious mind is changing our daily habits. I look at my own life, and the reason I live in a nice house, get to do what I love for a living, is because at a certain point I changed my daily habits from going into a 9-to-5 job I wasn't passionate about, selling women's shoes, to making daily videos on YouTube. That habit changed my identity. Understand that our identity, the way we see ourselves, is on autopilot. We will do everything we can to remain consistent to the way we see ourselves. If I were to keep seeing myself as a 9-to-5 person that works a 9-to-5 job, I would keep staying in that reality. I changed my habit of the way I viewed myself by making videos every single day. That changed my identity. When I look at, even when I used to have that 9-to-5 job, I was selling women's shoes. There was a moment when I saw myself, I realized, I became aware of my story. I became aware that I saw myself as an average employee. What I then did is I changed that way of seeing myself, and I started to see myself as a top salesperson, and I started to then do a daily habit of seeing how much value I could add to customers. I would then help them, and I would do everything I could to pick up customers and to have a positive mental attitude, and that took me from a mediocre employee to a top salesperson in my department. You see, that's the key, is being aware of your current self-image and then wiring in the new with a daily habit. That's why they say the way you change your subconscious mind is through repetition, repetition, repetition. And the only way to really do that is through some daily practice that I have found. So if you want to be an artist, make art every single day. That will begin to change your identity. Now, something that is even more powerful that I'm recommending over all this subconscious mind stuff, I'm showing you like the 101 to all this subconscious mind stuff. What I found to be even more powerful is something that I'm going to share with you that has to do with meditation on identity. For example, let me share with you a story of this. Now, there was this lady that came to one of my buddy Victor Odo. He had a retreat in Sedona. And I told him that I was going to Sedona a certain week, and he said, "Oh, can you come by and speak at my retreat, do a quick talk?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I came, I did this quick talk at his retreat, and afterwards there was like 20, 30 people there, and some of the people knew and recognized me from my channel, and I did a talk, and that was cool. And then there was a lady that came up to me after that I talked to, and she was really cool. She was in crutches, and what she explained to me was that she got into a car accident and was told by doctors that she would never walk again. That was the story they told her. She believed that story for a period of time. Then what happened is she came across some of my videos, and she found a video that was on a meditation that was walk into a parallel reality. Now what this meditation did is this meditation gets people to a very deep level of relaxation, a very deep level into the theta state. And then what happens is you're able to walk in and become the version of you that you prefer to be. Now, she did this meditation, and when she was at this retreat, she was walking in crutches. She had crutches, but she was walking. She was doing something doctors never told her she would do again. She said that after doing that meditation, the walk into a parallel reality, which was kind of a play on words too, because she was told she could never walk again, after doing that meditation, she claims that now she can walk again. And that meditation was what allowed her to do it. Now, the reason I'm sharing you this with this is because it's a very powerful story of showing, like for me, that blew me away. I had no idea that the meditations could go that far. I mean, I knew that meditation is powerful. I knew that there was a lot of things it could do, but for somebody that was paralyzed to now being able to walk, or that was told they never walk again, that is now walking, let alone, walking with crutches, but still walking, told that she would never be able to do that, and now she's able to do that. That is incredible to me. And from knowing that story, it really touched me, and it really made me understand the power of meditation and the power of identity. You can live according to the rules you give yourself. And when people tell you that you can't do something, question it. When people tell you you can't do something, you can always go within yourself to see what actually resonates with you. What is more powerful than changing your subconscious mind is understanding that what you can begin to do is to question your reality, to question what people tell you, to question the old you, the old story, the old patterns. And when you question it from the level of reasoning, you then become free from it. You then say, why do I believe that money is hard to make? Why do I believe this? Why do I believe that? You'll find that most of your beliefs, most of the things you believe, come from your parents or come from one experience when you were young that you just decided this is the way reality is. A lot of this is about taking responsibility for things we agreed to at the past. These are all agreements that we've made at subconscious levels. Now, changing your subconscious mind, though, here is the key to this whole process of what I think is more powerful than changing your subconscious mind. First off, we're telling ourselves a story of who we are. Every single day we tell ourselves a story. We think the same thoughts every day, feel the same emotions every day, do the same things every day, therefore get the same reality every single day. Now the key to this is knowing that every single day we are recreating ourselves to be the same person day in and day out. Recreating ourselves to be the same person day in and day out. And because of that, we continue to experience the same reality. Now realize that's the old you. There's a new you, the one that you prefer to be, that is thinking, feeling, and acting and equal to the reality you want. If you look at this version of you and you find one that's connected to your heart, because remember, when we're talking about that scale of consciousness, we're talking about that of love and above. And to get to the vibration of love, what we want to do is we want to become aware that our vibration is that of something that we are passionate about. When we are doing something that we are passionate about, of love and above, that's where, love and above, that's where our vibration is going to be the highest. That's why I make videos every single day, because I'm so passionate about it. Now here's the key. Just decide that this is who you are now. There are meditations that will help you to wire this in, and maybe, yes, it brings you into a theta state and it helps with this process. But like Jackie did, which is the lady's name that was able to completely go from paralyzed, told she was never going to walk again, to walking again, what that shows is what we can begin to do is to surrender the story that we tell ourselves and then just decide this is who we are now. That's what the meditation pretty much did. Is it just, you walked into this visualization, you walked into this door, this new parallel reality, and that's who you are now, and that's what gets wired in. If you want to listen to that meditation, by the way, I'll go ahead and put a card right here where you can see that, and then also I'll put it as an end card as well, so after this video you can watch that. However, you can change the story you're telling yourself and think, act, and feel the way you prefer, and just decide that's who you are now. That's your new identity. When I look at my own life, I just decided I am a full-time YouTuber. And the thing is the level of love, you do things for the sake of doing it, not because it gets you anywhere else. From the level of reason, you do things because it'll get you something. So for example, I make daily videos on YouTube because it's who I am. It's the vibration I prefer to be. And that's the key, because a lot of times people will try to change and then they'll be waiting for the reflection on the mirror. It's like going over to this mirror right over here and it's like, oh, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this reflection. And then it's like I'm waiting, and as soon as that reflection changes, then I'll change. But that's not the way it works. We have to change first, smile, and then notice that as we smile, that smiles. But I can't wait for that reflection to change. In the same way in reality, that's exactly how it works. We must do things for the sake of being it. Be it for the sake of being it. Create art every day as an artist because it's who you are, not because it'll eventually get you your art gallery studio. The paradox is, of course, that's where it can lead, but you do things for the sake of doing them because it's who you are. You don't get in life that which you want, you get in life that which you are. So now I'm creating daily videos. I am going to be doing and moving in the next month or two into that of creating live events and doing live events. I'm already planning it out. It's already something that's getting scheduled, and that's something I'm doing. So I'm thinking, feeling, and acting equal to that version of me. Have a vision, have a visualization of that version of you, and just decide that's who I am now. Think, act, and feel as that version of you. Do meditations that are powerful, and as you do, you will wire that in a very powerful way without trying to become a better person and do all these things and emphasizing the old identity. That's more powerful than just reprogramming the subconscious mind, and that's exactly how you can create things in your life to manifest much easier, much more magical. So right now, what I recommend you do is listen to that meditation, walk into a parallel reality. It's a very powerful meditation. Listen to it over 21 days. Watch how your life begins to change. It'll be an end card right here. Click it and check it out. And as always, I'll talk to you in the next video. Peace, much love, and namaste.